Episode 8 of the Babysitters Club TV show is Kristy's Big Day. I thought it was an okay episode. It's a wedding episode, and I'm not really that big of a fan of fancy weddings myself. So I didn't really like the episode all that much. It was good, it's just, not something I'm really interested in. The book is pretty good. I like the book. The episode has nothing in common with the book, besides for the fact that Kristy's mom is getting married, and Kristy's the bridesmaid in the yellow dress. That's basically it. That's all the episode takes from the book. So in the book, there's this wedding drama because the wedding gets pushed up by several months. So instead of being months away, the wedding is happening this Saturday. And now everybody has to plan for a wedding in less than a week. And it's very frantic and people are running around. It's good drama. In the episode, the drama was more Watson and Kristy's mom have mismatched expectations about the wedding. So Watson wants this big, fancy, traditional, expensive wedding, and Kristy's mom is not really okay with that. She is especially not okay with Watson just throwing money around. So he buys Charlie a new car, which is just crazy, and I totally am on mom's side on this. It's like, why would you buy him a new car? How much did that cost? Ugh. They really should have told her first. And then Watson buys Kristy an $800 dress because Kristy thinks this dress looks like a banana. That was a cute joke. And again, mom's like, why didn't anybody tell me about this ahead of time? You should have told me, Kristy. You should have said no. And Kristy's like, but mom, I finally get to wear a dress, which makes me feel good about myself. He bought Charlie a car, mom. Why are you chewing me out? And that was basically the tension in the episode was, they weren't sure how to do the wedding planning. Kristy's mom wasn't a big fan of Watson spending all this money. And, two problems. Number one, really, Watson and Elizabeth should have talked about this long before. They should have talked about what sort of wedding they would have. Long before this. They should have discussed financial matters in their wedding prep courses. I know I did in my wedding prep courses. And problem number two, this is actually a private issue between Watson and Kristy's mom. So we don't actually see them resolve it. I presume they had a serious talk about it at some point off camera, but we don't really see, Watson and Elizabeth resolve the issue. So I kind of felt like that. It kind of felt like that storyline sort of just disappeared and went into nowhere. It was kind of combined with Kristy not being sure about her new life because she's moving to this new house. She is living with new people and she's not sure what to make of it. And I think it was better in the book, to be honest, because the book did more of that. The episode had a really touching scene where Kristy, said goodbye to Marianne, moving away forever. That was actually really touching. I like that. But I think the book did it better. In the book, Kristy talks with her brothers about everything, and they have this big serious talk. And then, she talks to her mom and has this big serious talk. Whereas in the episode, it was just Kristy and her mom. At the end of the wedding, Kristy manages to talk to mom at the very last second before mom leaves, and they have this serious heart-to-heart about liking yourself. And Kristy is a woman now, so Kristy has her first period in this episode, and that was kind of a surprise. It kind of came out of nowhere. I guess it's not entirely unprecedented because there are definitely children's books for this age level that have similar storylines. So there's one like that in Sweet Valley Twins. And of course, the best one is Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, which is a great book, also about girls getting their periods. I don't think that was in the Babysitters Club, though. I don't think they had any period books. They had books about, death and racism and other heavy topics, disabilities, multiple disabilities books, but I don't think they had any period books. I was a little taken aback because they said, oh, Kristy, you're having your first period. It's your big day. I'm like, no, that's not what the title refers to. It's not about having a period. And I don't know. So that was a whole scene. And they tie it into the end where Kristy's mom talks about Kristy becoming a woman and growing up, and she really loves Kristy. And Kristy, gets this moral about loving herself and loving her friends, because the Babysitters Club is all about friendship. They're really friends. They're the best friends you'll ever have. And it's fine. I just thought it was a little generic, love yourself, love everybody. Just a lovey-dovey moral to fit with the wedding episode. I don't think we had any real subplots in this episode. We got to see all the other characters, so they all got dressed up and prepared for the wedding, and that was nice. It was nice to bring back all the characters for the big wedding episode. I think that worked well. In the book, it was all of Kristy's relatives. We got to see a bunch of her relatives. So they all came into town, and the Babysitters Club had to babysit like 25 kids all at once for several days. And that's not in the episode at all. There's no babysitting in this episode. You could argue there's a little bit of babysitting at the start with Karen and David Michael. So Karen pretends to marry David Michael, and that was a very cute scene. I liked it. I actually really liked Karen in this episode. She got to be more of herself, whereas in previous episodes, I feel like she was more of a joke. She was the creepy goth girl, and that was the joke. Whereas in this episode, she was pretty funny. So I like seeing Karen in this episode. But I wouldn't call it a babysitting scene, because Kristy just gets up and leaves the kids and doesn't pay attention to them again. So either she wasn't babysitting them, or she's doing a really terrible job of babysitting them. Let's see, what else happened? The creepy next door neighbor was the officiant at the wedding. I wonder whose decision that was. Was it Watson's decision? It doesn't kind of match the storyline of Watson's family members wanting this super fancy old-fashioned wedding, and they're totally okay with the crazy witch lady being the one in charge of the wedding. Those two things don't match together well. And it's funny how Karen screams at the witch lady. Although I find it kind of weird, because did they not have a wedding rehearsal? Karen should have been at the wedding rehearsal. This shouldn't be a surprise to her. But what can I say? I guess Karen missed the wedding rehearsal. I don't know. This was book number 6 and episode number 8, so they pushed it back 2 episodes. And I honestly am not entirely sure why. I think this totally would have worked if it had been episode number 6. That would have been perfectly fine, actually. I think maybe they wanted to end with the big wedding episode, which makes sense. It makes for a good finale. But, like I said, I'm just not a big fan of these fancy wedding episodes and everybody getting all dressed up in fancy outfits. I kind of didn't like going through that at my own wedding. I don't need to see other people go through it. It's not my thing. So, it was an okay episode. It had an okay moral about loving your friends and loving yourself. It's perfectly fine. It's just not the episode for me. So, take it or leave it. That is Kristy's Big Day, episode number 8. Looks like the next 2 episodes are going to be a 2-parter. Maybe based on this book, maybe not. I guess I'll find out when I watch the episode.